Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap. I took 3 trades today, almost 4. I've got everything on video. We're going to go over everything that happened right now. This is my new trading plan and strategy for the market open. This is the 4th day that I've been trading it, and so far I've hit my goal every single day, but today I was not able to hit my goal. That's going to happen sometimes, even when you have a really good plan and strategy, and even when you're pretty good at executing it, nobody's perfect, you're going to have red days, and that's part of trading. There's no plan, there's no strategy, and there's no trader that is going to be able to achieve green days every single day. And the ones that try to often end up even deeper in the red. So I'll show you what happened and why things failed in the trades I took. So as always, I start with Webull on the Markets tab, top gainers, 1 day, click all. Organized by volume, I'm only interested in the top 10 stocks. If the number 1 stock is higher than 110 million shares, float size, I'll consider it as long as it's less than 500 million. But other than that, the rest of the stocks need to be at 110 million shares or less. Then I'll also scroll down and look for any suspended stocks, which there were none today. So that's what gets onto my watch list. So let's take a look at the video. So there was some other kind of, I guess, low volume stocks on here that are from the watch list, from the screener, if it's not updated properly. So you have to shut down Webull, restart it a few times whenever the new market session starts at 9:30 to make sure that the list is updating properly. And I do that on my laptop. Right now you're looking at my desktop, and the nice thing about having the laptop sitting right next to me is I can keep that screener up the whole time, and I still have my watch list open so I don't miss any entries or exits or anything like that. So right now I'm marking out the high of the previous session. That could be the pre-market or the previous day, whichever is higher. And if the price doesn't break through that level, then I don't even bother looking for an entry because I don't consider the stock strong. It's in a downtrend at that point. So let's just scroll. So that was pretty much most of what was happening. You can see it's already like 6 minutes into the open and nothing has really broken out except for TEDU, and just barely did. So usually by this point, I'm already in a few trades. What this is, let me explain this. This is not an entry. I'm not already into this stock. So I noticed that my trigger to look for an entry had been triggered. And my first entry would be for the break of this candle, which I believe the top of this candle is like 383. So I'm looking for 384. And I put in a stop limit order. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, there we go. Or 385, I guess is what I was looking for. So I put in stop limit order, 385. That means that if the price, you can see right now the price is at 379. So if the price breaks up through and hits 385, then my order will get triggered and I'll have a position open. And this limit price just makes it so that if it goes through 385 kind of without stopping, without filling me, that it'll fill me all the way up to 387. So that's the nice thing about that. That way you don't miss an entry or a trade. So that's what that is. That's just kind of out there waiting to be filled. Still out there. I didn't move my stop right away, which is not really a great idea. But I guess I didn't think I was going to miss it. But I should have put my stop up even before the entry was triggered. I think at the moment I kind of forgot that I could do that. But you see what ended up happening anyway is that the trade, well, it wasn't a trade because I wasn't in it, but the ABCD pattern failed. This is the point A, and as soon as the price comes down below point A, then the ABCD patterns failed and I can't take a trade. So you can see I canceled the order before my entry was triggered. So now I'm just scanning for things that, so TAOP must have popped up on my laptop on the screener, and you could see obviously it broke out through the previous session high, which is right here at 760. And it looks like my my entry has already passed. It was right here at basically the 780 level, but you can see this thing is coming back down and it's looking like it's going to trigger me again. The one thing I'm not sure if I checked, this may be a mistake, is if my profit target was hit already. I don't think it was. So let's see, like I guess 780 or 781 was my ideal entry, and the stop loss would have been 760. Let's see. So 828 was the target. So yeah, it didn't get hit, but it was very close. And that's one of my rules, is that if my profit target has been hit already, then I can't take the trade. Okay, so there I get filled on the pullback. And that trade is automated, so I don't have to watch it. I can just check out, look for other entries. And here's another one that broke out through previous highs, which were somewhere around here. So this one wasn't like a missed entry. I do mark it out, I think, later in the video. But obviously this thing, well, not obviously, but you have to take my word for it. For now, the previous high was somewhere around here. It broke out through it, and now it's pulling back. And the first entry is right here, I believe, on this candle. So I'm putting in, let's see, was this one? Yeah, so I tried to do the same thing. I think I screwed up that order entry, and then that continued later too. Let me see. Oh no, I think this was a hotkey. Yeah, this was a hotkey entry because I saw it back up at my entry level. And then for whatever reason, I guess the ask was down low at that point, and it put in the order at 35. Yeah, you can see how the ask is bouncing around here a lot. It's at 35 right now. And even though the last price is 35.16, so that was what was triggering my entry, was at 35.16. So as soon as I hit my hotkeys, it put it out at that 35.03, I think it was. So I just dragged it up to 35.16, which is where I wanted to get in. I got filled. I put in my stop loss at the low of this consolidation area, since it is a consolidation area, and almost the bottom of these candles are almost all in the same place, so it doesn't really make sense to use the previous candle since they're so close. So I used the bottom of the consolidation area, and then of course that additional stop loss gets added to my profit target. So now that order is fully automated. You don't have to do anything. Okay, so PIXY. So this was a mistake. I used the wrong order type here. So what I was trying to do was get ready for the break of this candle. You can see that the high of this candle was 383. So my ideal entry would be for 384. Now, like before, I showed you how I used that buy stop limit order. That's what I needed to use here, and I screwed up and I put in a regular limit order. So these are the things, that this is why you do test trading, to get practice and to collect data with one share before you start, using your full position size, because this was a total mistake on my part. This ended up being a losing trade. This trade would not have even happened if I would have done things properly, because what I would have done was put in a stop limit order for 384. It would have never been triggered before this ABCD pattern failed, and I would have canceled the order and never been filled. So I realized right away, that I screwed up. So there's only two things you can do at that point. You can close the position, or sell it immediately, and just take the loss or whatever. Or what I did was almost the same exact thing. I just moved my stop up to where it would be had this candle triggered my entry. So like, let's pretend this candle actually broke out above this one, then my stop loss would have been just below the low of this candle. So that's what I did, is I moved my stop loss up to that level. And it stopped me out. So, that's fine, because like I said, that was a mistake anyway, and I wasn't expecting to win that, because it didn't even trigger my entry. Now, when that happens, the worst thing you could do is, put an ultra wide stop and say, oh, well, maybe my entry will come. Just take the loss and wait for your real entry to get triggered. You already made one mistake, so there's no reason to make that mistake turn into a bigger mistake. All right, so let's see here. TAOP's kind of bouncing around a little bit. Okay, so Mara, this one is pretty interesting. So this thing popped up on the screener on my laptop, and you can see that it's running, up, and it broke out through the previous day high, which is that yellow line. It just barely did it. And my entry is for the break of this little candle here. I'll zoom in on it in just a second. And you can see I missed it because I think 36.39 was my ideal entry. I was looking at my screener on my laptop and was not keeping an eye on this. And again, that's a mistake on my part. Doesn't matter how good your plan and your strategy is. If you can't execute it, then it doesn't work. So this was my fault, not my plan, not my strategy. So I realized right away what had happened, and I go in to put a stop limit order, or no, a limit, or let me see, what did I do? A limit order is what I want here, yeah. Because now the price is above it. See, there's a lot of things you got to keep straight too. So it's easy to make mistakes. So when the price is above your entry and you want to get filled on the pullback, that's when you want a limit order. So if you want to get filled on the way down, you want a limit order. If you want to get filled on the way up, you want a stop or stop limit order. So actually, I could have gotten filled very easily here if I would have just used my hotkeys, which is what I should have done looking back on this. But instead, I was trying to use the trade widget, which by the time I finished putting in the order, it already had come down and bounced back off. But it did come down, and if I would have just hit my hotkeys to get in, this would have been a successful 2-hour trade. So 393 was my profit target. And you can see it got hit there. It went up all the way to 37. And then at that point, I have to cancel that trade because if my profit target gets hit before my position is filled, then the trade is already gone on without me. So that would have been a successful trade. That would have brought my win rate for today up to 25%, which is still not that great. My goal is 33% or better, or it's better than 33% because 33% is break even. But it would have helped out the average. On my data, 25% is a lot better than 0. So unfortunately today it's going to be a 0. But I'm still going to put a note on my spreadsheet, and I'll show you that. I'll make a video for this weekend with all my data that I've collected so far, and show you, what I'm tracking and how I'm tracking it. So I think that's it for all the trades. That was all that happened. Like I said, it was a slow day. Yesterday, I think I had 8 trades. So that, by comparison, this was 4, I believe. And that's it. So anyway, the thing is, and I'm not sure, maybe I lost track of something at some point, but I want to keep from taking too many losses. So if I lose 3 trades in a row, I am going to stop trading. And I'm not sure. I'll have to look back again to see if that MARA, the Mara trade, if that was after all of these trades failed or not. Let's look at the timestamps here. The last trade that got filled was 9:48. So that may have been an additional mistake. Let's go and see when that MARA trade was taking place. Yeah, so it looks like I screwed up there too. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that I want to try to stick to is that even though that trade would have won, if I have 3 losses in a row before 10 a.m., I need to stop trading. So that's another thing that I have to put on my plan, is to be careful about that, because obviously I screwed that up today as well. So this is pretty complicated. Trading is difficult, and you do need a plan with a lot of different kind of scenarios in it, like I have, but I just need to make the plan. I need to write those scenarios right into the plan and read those every single day so that I know, okay, when this and this has happened, that this is what I need to do. This is how I need to respond. So really at this point, I should have been done trading, even though MARA popped up on the screener and looked good and all of that. I should have stopped, but I didn't. The only thing I can say is I didn't do it intentionally. I kind of, there's a lot going on with this new plan and strategy, so I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. But again, this is why we test trade and why we don't trade with our full position size until we've really learned the system inside and out, and until we've proven that we can execute it very well. So that's it for today. And as always, no matter what, first of all, you really need a plan going into any trade. and a plan for your trade day itself, like I'm talking about, then no matter what, take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.